The day the royal hall opened its shining gates for the wedding, the entire kingdom of Lumerus watched in breathless curiosity. Their monarch, Queen Alira, had made a choice no one expected. She had chosen a human as her partner, a man named Rowan, who came from a distant blue world that few in the kingdom had ever seen. Most citizens accepted the announcement politely, but many whispered that humans were too simple, too delicate, too ordinary for their sovereign. Alira ignored the murmurs. She saw something in Rowan that no one else noticed, a quiet steadiness that never wavered. He spoke with calm sincerity, moved without hesitation, and showed kindness where others displayed pride. Even so, the people wondered why a monarch of vast responsibility would bind her life to someone who carried no royal blood, no ancient heritage, and no extraordinary ability. Rowan never defended himself. He simply stood beside Alira with gentle resolve. He did not seek admiration. He did not try to impress. He embraced every task with silent confidence. Still, the doubts grew louder. As the early seasons passed, the couple settled into a rhythm inside the palace. Alira guided her councils, mediated disputes among her provinces, and traveled to distant worlds to strengthen alliances. Rowan assisted quietly. He repaired small devices in the palace, walked among the gardens with officials who needed reassurance, and listened to workers who rarely had a chance to speak with someone in power. His presence brought calm, though many still assumed he contributed little. On Sundays, when the court gathered to discuss matters of security, Rowan sat unnoticed at the side of the chamber, while representatives from neighboring systems reported unrest along the outer borders. A mysterious force had been troubling merchant fleets. Ships went missing without warning. Communication networks flickered irregularly. The people feared hidden threats preparing to rise. Alira planned to visit the outer region herself. Though she held authority, she also believed leadership required understanding the concerns of the distant villages. Rowan requested to accompany her. The council objected at once. They insisted that a human without special training, without enhanced endurance, without any defensive protocols, would be a burden. Rowan did not argue. Alira silenced the debate by announcing that he would join her whether the council approved or not. The final word belonged to her. Their journey through the star routes began quietly. They traveled with a modest escort, choosing a path rarely used by official convoys. Alira wanted to observe matters closely, rather than arrive with intimidating force. She stayed alert at every shift of energy around their ship. Rowan scanned maps and studied regional concerns with her. Though he did not speak much, each observation he offered was simple and accurate. Alira trusted his judgment without hesitation. Halfway through their route, they encountered an abandoned transport gliding slowly through the void. Its lights were dim. No signal came from inside. Alira ordered their vessel to approach. When their scanners swept across the surface, a strange interference disrupted the readings. It resembled an energy field unfamiliar to both human and Lumerian technology. Rowan stepped forward, studying the distorted waves displayed on the screen. He did not react with confusion. Instead, he quietly requested permission to board the silent transport. Alira was startled. She refused at first, insisting that the risk was too high. Rowan spoke in his calm manner and reminded her that someone might still be inside. His voice carried no fear. After a long pause, Alira agreed, though her expression revealed worry she tried to hide. Rowan prepared without hesitation. He did not request weapons. He only asked for basic environmental gear and a small toolkit. When he stepped into the transport, Alira watched his figure vanish through the dim entrance. Inside the vessel, Rowan moved carefully through narrow halls. The air carried a faint metallic scent. Nothing seemed broken, but silence echoed through every corner. After a short search, he reached the control room. There he found traces of an unfamiliar device attached beneath the navigation panel. It pulsed softly, like a living organism. Rowan studied it closely, recognizing the faint signature of technology he had hoped never to encounter again. He touched the communicator on his wrist and informed Alira about the device with steady precision. The moment she heard his explanation, she froze. This energy belonged to an extinct faction known only from old archives, a faction said to possess technology able to manipulate entire routes of interstellar travel. The Council believed they vanished ages ago. Rowan told her they had never vanished. He had encountered their technology before during an exploration program he rarely spoke about. He disabled the device with swift efficiency and returned to the shuttle. When Rowan stepped back into their vessel, the escort officers stared at him with new unease. They had not expected the quiet human to return with advanced knowledge they themselves lacked. Alira questioned him gently. Rowan answered honestly, but briefly. He had hidden his background, not out of secrecy, but because he never wished his past achievements to define his identity. He preferred a peaceful life beside her. Alira accepted the truth, though she sensed there was more he had not yet revealed. Their journey continued, but now they traveled with heightened caution. The mysterious interference returned near the next system. This time, the disruption grew stronger, pulling their ship toward a region concealed by drifting dust clouds. Alira ordered defensive protocols. Rowan stepped forward to help the pilots stabilize their course. The force dragging them grew stronger until a massive structure emerged from the haze, a relic shaped like an enormous ring of dark metal. Lights flickered across its surface in slow, rhythmic patterns. Without warning, beams of pale energy shot from the relic and surrounded their vessel. The escort ships struggled to break free, but found themselves locked in place. Alira stood tall, though her voice trembled. Rowan placed a hand lightly on her arm and asked permission to handle the situation. She hesitated. She knew that Rowan possessed knowledge, what he had ever shown, but she did not know its extent. With a steady breath, she nodded. Rowan stepped toward the ship's central console. He asked the crew to open a direct channel to the relic. They protested. No one wanted to alert an unknown force. Rowan insisted calmly. Finally, they complied. Once the connection formed, Rowan spoke with unusual authority. He addressed the unseen operators behind the relic, warning them that their interference threatened diplomatic stability across the region. His voice carried a resonance that startled even Alira. It did not sound aggressive. It sounded like someone who had faced this kind of danger before and understood the silent rules behind it. A distorted reply came through the channel. It spoke of ancient rites, forgotten boundaries, and a claim over the region that predated all modern alliances. Rowan listened without fear. He responded with an almost strategic calm, countering each point with information too detailed for anyone except a direct witness of past encounters. Alira watched him closely. She realized that Rowan had not simply studied these threats. He had lived through them. He had survived them. And he had never told her. When communication shifted into rising tension, Rowan made a final statement. He warned the relic that if they continued to hold the vessel in place, he would release the counter-frequency he carried. The room fell silent. No one understood what he meant. The relic operators on the channel hesitated. Rowan reached into a small compartment of his gear and retrieved a device so simple it looked almost handmade. He activated it quietly. A soft tone vibrated through the air. The relic reacted immediately. Lights across its structure flickered out of rhythm. The beams holding their ships dissolved. The relic turned slowly, as if shrinking back from a force it could not withstand. Then it retreated into the haze and disappeared. The escort crew stared at Rowan with wide disbelief. Alira was speechless. She walked to him and asked in a soft voice what he had just done. Rowan answered honestly. During an old mission long before he met her, he had discovered the frequency that disrupted the relic's technology. He had been part of a diplomatic exploration program that required not only knowledge, but resilience. He had kept this part of his life hidden because he wanted to live simply with her, without the weight of those expectations. Alira felt a mix of admiration, surprise, and a subtle ache in her chest. She realized that she had underestimated him despite her trust. She saw now the full depth of his strength, not the kind that relied on force, but the kind built on experience, patience, and unshakable courage. Rowan had never boasted about it. He had never sought recognition. He carried his strength quietly. When they reached the outer region, the villagers welcomed Alira warmly. They had feared the strange disruptions for many weeks. Rowan assisted in stabilizing their local systems, identifying subtle traces of the same energy that had affected the transport. He explained everything with clear patience. The villagers quickly developed respect for the calm human, whose knowledge seemed deeper than any official records. During their return journey, Alira sat beside Rowan in the quiet cabin of their vessel. She looked at him not just as her partner, but as a figure she was just beginning to understand fully. She thanked him sincerely for protecting not only the mission, but the entire region. Rowan gave her a gentle smile. He reminded her tea,